What's going on, TikTok? I'm just waking up and eating my breakfast. Been watching some lives. Been watching some protests. They out there just protesting. We doing what we doing. I'm watching TV and eating my Jack in the Box. But what disturbed me is that I didn't see one cop. If anything, they're making sure nothing happened to them. They're blocked off the street, you know. But they're not doing nothing to them. Well, I'm from St. Louis, so I was in the Mike Brown protest. We couldn't even stand on the corner. Tear gas, military riot gear. But today, nothing.
Hello everyone, welcome once again to AfriPost. I hope wherever you're watching us from, you're having a great time. Now, on April 5th, we saw white Americans come and pour themselves on the streets, and they were protesting against Elon Musk and Trump over how they're running the government currently. And there are certain things that happened in this protest. Many whites came out, that is given. And then another thing that happened that I even highlighted in the video that I did previously is that there were no massive response from the police. You know always that when blacks call for this kind of protests, they are always met with aggression from police, and there are a lot of tear gas thrown, there are many arrests made, and there are a lot of things that are being spoiled because of that trigger that comes from policemen. Why is it that when whites came to protest, the government or the administration department did not see it necessary to bring out policemen? Is it by default, or was it that these white people were more organized and there was no fear of violence that could erupt from this protest? We know that there are cases of Tesla drivers who were harassed, and policemen did not respond the way they always respond when blacks are engaged in protests. Why did this happen? So I compiled a video of TikTok commentaries of people who also saw this same thing happen and how they responded to it. So let's watch this, then come back and share our thoughts.
Has anybody else noticed that there's not a lot of police presence at these protests that's been going on lately? And what I mean by that is there's been a lot of protests going on, like a lot. There's been veterans protests, there's been marches, there's been all kinds of protests going on. And I haven't seen a lot of police presence, you know, like in this picture when BLM was going on, even though it was a peaceful protest outside of the Capitol, they had that thing surrounded. I wonder if this has anything to do with the fact that there's one demographic of people that have decided they will not be participating in any of these protests. Like, does that have anything to do with it? It's okay, because we're going to find out really soon. I've heard that there's going to be a mass protest on like April 5th or April 2nd, something like that. I heard there's going to be a mass protest, and we're going to be able to see, because one demographic has decided that they will not be participating in any of these protests. We will not be giving y'all a reason to do anything. So we're going to see on whatever is April 5th, April 2nd, when they do the protest and one demographic is not there. I want to see what the police presence looks like, because they know it's coming. It's been all everywhere talking about it, so they know it's coming. I want to see what the presence is going to look like, because I wonder if it's just because one demographic is not there.
I keep watching all these videos from the protests, and it's blowing my mind how I haven't seen one single police car. I haven't seen one single police officer in any of these videos or photos. And you might be thinking, well, it's a peaceful protest. Why would police be there? Why do police need to be there? And that's the point. Could you even imagine if there was this many black people in one space? Not even for a protest. It could be for anything. They would be calling the National Guard to break it up. As someone myself who's protested, I've seen people get arrested just for sitting down and taking up space. It's just truly boggling my mind, the privilege, even when it comes to protesting, which is something I knew, but to see the reality of it is so crazy. Then you got old girl over here talking about, I wish they would have had a bouncy house for the kids because my kid is distracted. Like, baby girl, this is not IKEA. But the next time you see a black person say that they don't want to go out and protest because they don't want martial law to be called, I just want you to think of this protest, which is probably one of the biggest protests in history compared to Black Lives Matter, and the treatment that people got in retaliation because they were protesting for Black Lives Matter. I keep watching all these videos from the
I just saw a video of a white woman standing in the middle of the road here in Dallas during the protest because the police blocked off the road for them because the crowd was so big. I know, but that one kind of felt like a slap in the face, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not wishing anything on anybody, but in 2020, when we were protesting, I went to a protest where you literally could not set foot on the road without being arrested. As soon as you put your foot on the gravel, they jumped on you, arrested you, and put you in a truck they had sitting there with all the people that were arrested. And no, sanctions were not an issue. Again, we know it's just, damn, to see is so. I did not expect this. I did not expect to be so angry about this. They really hate us. God damn. To go so far as to protect, I think that's a good thing. It's just something exclusively experienced by white people. So, I'm gonna have to go process this. But yeah, that one stung.
Black people understood the assignment. Y'all didn't show up to any of those protests that happened throughout the country yesterday. You didn't see police dressed in riot gear. You know why? Because we weren't there. We understood the assignment. We stood down. We stayed home. We watched from the sideline. We rooted for you guys, but we rooted from the sidelines. We saw you on the social media platforms. We saw you on the news channels. But we did not engage, because had we engaged, there would have been police in riot gear. There would have been something declared, and it's called martial law. The black community understood the assignment. It's not our fight. We didn't create this mess. It's not ours to fix. Good job, black community. Keep it up.
I just wanted to say, great job to all the protesters that came out today. But I wanted to make a huge valid point. The police can allow you to protest peacefully. So the police cannot use rubber bullets and tear gas against you. So all those tear gas, rubber bullets, unaliving, water hoses were all unnecessary for prior protests that had happened for decades upon decades upon decades. They did not need water hoses. They did not need rubber bullets. They did not require the use of tear gas. You are able to go out and protest and not get hurt and not get unalived. So from here on out, America, we can protest and expect the police to not harm anyone. Ever and ever and ever and never and ever again.
So I'm sure by now everyone has come across the April 5th protests and just seeing how people are gathering in large amounts. I think they said like Florida, thousands of people came out. Multiple states throughout the area have all these people marching, as you can see. But one thing I want to make very clear, while we're at home resting, I don't see one police officer. And the whole vibe is like a little social gathering. Okay, it's like a little, we're mad, yay, unrest. And there's no police presence whatsoever. And these things are getting massive. They're fucking massive. And I want to make it very clear that this is being allowed with zero recourse. I'm willing to bet everything in what's left of my 401k at this point that if we were out there, and by we, I mean, there would be so much discourse with the police, with us, with people, and those good old boys would have been marching against us. I'm telling you, there is a whole other side of that protest that is waiting on black people, and it's not just the police. It's those people who are diehard Trump fans and diehard racists. I kid you not. But what's so interesting to see is how no one gives a shit. Like no news for real. Like they're saying something, but they're not out there interviewing people for real. And it's like, damn, y'all really are waiting on black people. Like y'all need us to help you, but we fucking can't. Because if we do, that's when those good old boys are gonna be called and all that shit's gonna be shut down. So y'all doing good. Go.
If no one said it yet, I will. Some of these protests got labeled peaceful simply because black people wasn't there. No riot gear, no helicopters, no media coverage calling it dangerous, no fear in the air. Because the reality is, it's never about how people protest. It's been about who's protesting. Whether it's white folks holding signs, blocking roads, demanding change, it's freedom of speech. But when we do it, when black women show up, we're standing still, asking to be heard. It becomes a problem. The volume is the same, but the reaction is different because this country doesn't fear the noise, it fears the truth. And the truth coming out of a black mouth, that shakes people. And if you've been feeling tired, like your nervous system is holding more than your body was made or built for, that's not weakness, that's wisdom. That is your soul saying, I can't keep pretending everything is fine when the world keeps showing me it isn't. That's the point where a lot of us start whispering, I need out, I need a shift, and maybe I need to leave. And that's why I offer clarity calls. It's not coaching, it's strategy, but space. A place to tell the truth that your group chat or your timeline doesn't always hold. A place to breathe, plan, and remember that you're not crazy for feeling all of this. So you've been feeling like the ground is shifting and the usual just push through it. Advice isn't working anymore. I got space for you. Book the call when you're ready. No pressure, just clarity.
I have a question, a serious question too. Now that the protest is over, how many people went to jail? This is a serious question because had it been us protesting, they'd have had bus on top of bus on top of bus. But I have heard nothing, literally zero, about people going to jail. And I wonder why. So my question to y'all, because maybe I'm just not seeing it. How many went to jail yesterday? That's my question. And it better be, the numbers better be rising. Okay? All right. Now y'all have a wonderful day because I don't think these numbers is going to be mapping. We'll see though.
So you can see that from that engagement that people are having there, they're also asking themselves the question, why is it that the force that was meted on them was not equal to that which is always directed to blacks? This tells you how American society is formed. America has a way through which it looks at blacks in a different way. Blacks and whites can never be equal in America. No matter how much you are told that America is the land of the free, it ain't free for black Americans. They have to work hard, they must prove themselves, and they must do things that make them not be judged or even considered as criminals. If it were black people, that protest would be highly militarized. Tear gas will be thrown everywhere, and people will be arrested from all over. Yet we see that this protest happened in over 50 states, and the level of arrest, the level of chaos that was coming from police was very minimal. So why is this happening? The April 5th hands of protest swept across the United States, drawing hundreds of thousands to rally against the policies of President Trump and Elon Musk's influence in government. Notably, these demonstrations, spanning over 1,400 locations in all 50 states, unfolded with a striking absence of police confrontation. No riot gears, no tear gas, and few reported arrests. This peaceful atmosphere stands in sharp contrast to the often volatile responses seen at protests predominantly attended by black Americans, raising questions about the factors shaping law enforcement behavior. One key reason for the lack of police aggression during the hands of protest may lie in their demographic and organizational makeup. Reports and sentiments from platforms like X suggest that these rallies were largely attended by white Americans, a group historically less likely to face militarized policing. The protests were meticulously coordinated by a coalition of over 150 progressive groups, emphasizing nonviolence and de-escalation, which may have signaled to authorities a lower perceived threat. In cities like Washington, D.C., Boston, and Los Angeles, police presence was minimal, with officers often describing the event as orderly and devoid of scuffles or issues, as noted by the LAPD officer. This restraint aligned with a pattern where protest framed as mainstream or aligned with broader, less racially charged grievances, like opposition to federal cuts or tariffs, tend to avoid heavy-handed responses. Compare this to protests predominantly attended by black Americans, such as those following the killings of George Floyd or Michael Brown. These events frequently saw swift and aggressive police action, riot shields, rubber bullets, and chemical agents deployed within hours. The 2020 Black Lives Matter uprising, for instance, faced militarized units in cities like Minneapolis and Ferguson, often justified by authorities citing public safety concerns or isolated incidents of unrest. The racial composition of this protest, coupled with their narratives of systemic injustices, seemed to trigger a heightened threat perception among law enforcement, rooted in historical biases and stereotypes of black descent as inherently disruptive. The hands of protest benefited from a narrative of broad patriotic resistance rather than a racialized struggle, possibly easing police tensions. Organizers committed to peace, a less stigmatized participant base, likely contributed to the absence of confrontation. This disparity underscores a troubling reality. Policing in America remains deeply influenced by race and perception, revealing a stark double standard on how dissent is met. That is what is happening. The dissent that comes from black people is always met with a high level of militarization. When it comes from whites, that never happens. So this tells you that American system is never fair. If you're a black person in the United States, you can know that you are at a higher risk of being incarcerated compared to your fellow white counterpart. What about those who are blacks? That is why no matter what happens, America still is way, way far from achieving equality that it preaches to everybody. Tell me down in the comment section what you think about this. And if you're watching us for the first time, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and also share. Thank you, and may the good Lord bless you. Goodbye.